Even under the best of circumstances, films are punishingly hard to make. From studio hassles to actors' egos, to bad scripts, to bad weather, to equipment malfunctions, it's a wonder any movies get made at all. But some movies seem snakebit, cursed, their casts and crew at the mercy of some wrathful, vengeant cinema god. With Friday the 13th just a couple of days away, it's an opportune time to consider some films that were born under a bad sign. Now, don't let the box office success of some of these films fool you. If these films didn't have bad luck, they wouldn't have no luck at all. Case in point, Incubus. What, you've never heard of the first film spoken in Esperanto? Now that alone should have been a red flag. But this 1966 horror film has gained a cult following for that Esperanto thing, plus the fact that it stars a pre-Star Trek William Shatner, and the fact that several of its stars met with tragic ends. One actor, Milos, murdered Barbara Ann Thompson, Mickey Rooney's estranged fifth wife, then killed himself. Another co-star committed suicide soon after the film's completion. The daughter of another star was kidnapped and murdered. The film's music editor was sent to prison after scalping Super Bowl tickets, and the director's independent production company went bankrupt. And then there's Atuk. This film has been the kiss of death for any actor who considered portraying an Eskimo who comes to New York. First up, John Belushi considered the role. Then he died of a drug overdose. The role went to Sam Kinison. Catastrophic car crash. Then it passed to John Candy, who died of a heart attack. The last person thus far who was in talks for the role was Chris Farley. We know how that turned out. So a warning to Kevin James, if you're ever offered this film, run for the hills. Next we have The Conqueror. Now this was doomed from the minute John Wayne was cast as Genghis Khan. But that's not all, folks. A flash flood killed the crew, a panther almost devoured co-star Susan Hayward, and more devastatingly, the film was shot on ground where the Army had previously tested atomic bombs, and 91 of the 220 crew members contracted cancer. Moving on to something a little more supernatural, did producer Steven Spielberg's decision to use actual skeletons in a pivotal scene in Poltergeist doom several of its cast members? Within 6 years that film was released, Dominic Dunn was murdered by an ex-boyfriend. Child star Heather "They're Back" O'Rourke died at the age of 12. Julian Beck, the frightening preacher in the second film, died of stomach cancer, and Will Sampson, the medicine man in the sequel, best known as Chief in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, also perished. Finally, The Omen, which should have been. En route to filming, the planes of star Gregory Peck, the film's screenwriter and the executive producer, were hit by lightning. During shooting, the IRA bombed the hotel where the producers were staying, and an animal handler was killed by a tiger. But get this, special effects consultant John Richardson was involved in a car crash that killed his assistant, and the roadside near the crash read, Omen, O-M-M-E-N, 666 kilometers. The day of the accident, Friday the 13th. Now, I don't know if that last part's true, but it's on the internet, so I'm going with it. I'm Donald Liebenson. Visit, if you dare, my entertainment blog at millionairecorner.com to learn about more movies that seem to have been produced in the Twilight Zone.